Greetings everyone. I am Megha Rajpurohit from Heritage Girls School. I am starting in 3, 2, 1 and go. I stand here with a very simple question. What you need to do is to raise your hand or just no action. Well, I know there would be no hands up in the audience. Anyways, I'll still ask you guys also to check my guess. Who all haven't heard the story race between the tortoise and the rabbit? See, no hands up. Obviously, everyone also knows that the tortoise won the race, right? Yes, and there's where the moral of the story enters. It's not about how quickly or rapidly you cross the pathway, but it's all about how consistent and dedicated you are. Therefore, slow and steady always wins the race. So I hope audience is clear with this one point what story provides us. I'm eager to go back to those days. Come on audience, let's enter the flashback. Imagine that precious time. You sleeping in the lap of your grandmother. She narrating you the stories of fantasies and fairy tales. All of those stories were always about either a king or a superhero, right? What I can feel right now is just these goosebumps and tingles. That time was the best part of my life. All of our childhood is totally incomplete without the fictional stories, that too the ones which were orally narrated to us. Through this, I remember I was one of the biggest fan of Disney princesses. To be particular, one of them was really my ideal. Try to make a guess, and here comes my story. Soon you'll get to know who that was. When I was of 6, a first grader, a social butterfly, and also a story file. To be honest, I was excellent in academics, but I have always hated holiday homeworks, especially of maths. So there used to be a deal between me and my sister that if I solve a single page of maths, she would narrate me a story of Snow White. Yes, that idol is none other than Snow White. After diving deep into her stories, I saw drastic change in me. I literally started living like her. I used to walk like her. I used to talk like her. I started making my hair the way she made. I always had a charming smile on my face, not with that red cheeks, but yes, a bit glowing one. I still remember that all of my personal stuff like my pencil box, my stationery kit, my school bag and even my lunch box consisted a sticker of Snow White. That shows a deep connection between us. At a point of time, I felt that she existed in this world, but unfortunately, it was all my childhood innocence. Literally, ladies and gentlemen, could you even imagine? Just a fictional story of a princess has literally built a character within me. I have grabbed two life qualities from Snow White. First, being kind to others, and second, showing generosity to the people you interact with. Although I wasn't that rich or royal like Snow White, also I did not have any ability like her. But still, her stories gave me a path to let my mind dream beautifully. I also saw some psychological changes within me that my way of imagining totally changed. And it's psychologically proven that whatever we listen in our childhood stays forever in our mind until we die and till our last breath. After going through my personal experience, don't you think that stories do contain a lot of power? It's rightly said that stories animate our life. By backing this up, I would like to share a few evidences by the National Academy of Science. First, it influences our critical thinking in a different manner. Second, it releases our daily stress and touches the entertainment side of our mind. Third, fosters empathy, especially within kids. And fourth, storytelling is an efficient way to improve our mental health. As psychology is taking over today's world in an optimistic way, this is what stories are in what I say. By the word psychology, two words struck my mind. Ladies and gentlemen, open up your ears. Narrative therapy. Narrative therapy is a type of psychotherapy where the psychologist has a face to face conversation with the patient, and the patient is ordered to be the protagonist of a specific story. For example, how would you deal your own kingdom? Narrative therapy provides an individual to re-author their life stories again, and it fosters them various opinions which consists their original and authentic imagination. Stories are not just always popular or well known. What if I ask you why it can't be a silent scene or an individual's life? You know, a few actions of a stranger can tell you a story without using their senses. Gradually, I have started believing that stories can teach you more than an experience that you go through, whether it be an adverse situation or an achievement for you. So, in Hindi, there is a very relatable phrase, kissa. And I must give you the guarantee, we all have heard all those kissas in our life, especially in our childhood. So let me tell you a kissa which I have recently observed. I was sitting on my school's campus stairs. I suddenly saw a female pigeon flew away. She came back with some small branches and twigs. I did not get what is actually happening. It kept repeating, and still I was confused. My eyes were too vigilant and observant to know what is going on. Then I realized that nidification was going on. I guarantee now the audience must be thinking, what is new and rare in this? But the new and rare stuff comes from what I have grabbed through this scene, which later became a story for me and I am narrating to you. The moral comes that you are the builder of your own house. Nobody else will come and support you even to make your house. So whenever you stand at a place as an independent person, your character should express that you are the builder of your own house and you are the only person that has to reside in that same house. We often watch movies, whether it be a Bollywood or a Hollywood one. And today's generation also watches series, right? But that comes under visual stories, where our imagination is totally dead because the scene is live in front of me. But whenever a person narrates a story to me, it is called as oral story, where the imagination is totally mine, original, authentic, and natural, full of creativity, where all my senses are in use. Let me throw some light upon the success story of Oprah Winfrey, a bold woman who struggled through challenging childhood and poverty, being abused in rural Mississippi, to becoming a great public speaker, a talk show host, a global proud. And that is what makes her different from all of us sitting in this room. Her thoughts sparks in her speaking skills, and the turning point of her life was the climax itself. To be honest, I hate reading books. You can see them right here, and I still do. But I would surely visit this one library where the number of books are zero. Ladies and gentlemen, I repeat it again, where the number of books are zero. This library is also called as the Human Library. And I want you to tell you the address, Copenhagen, Denmark. It's not a normal library. An individual comes, picks up a chair, sits, and they narrate either a life experience or a speech that really gives a big impact to every listener. It is a concept of sharing conversations, prejudice, and challenge stereotypes. So next time if you visit that library, do not pick up these books. Pick up their thoughts. As being a proud Indian, I will never forget these moments. The narratives of Mahabharata and Ramayana taught me numerous moral values, and the storyteller was, of course, my very own mother. The moral values like strength, unity, power, facing adversities in an efficient way, and friendship. There are many more, but I'll just share my personal ones. So, those moral values are now the base of my success and also the future life that I'm going to pursue and adapt. In my dictionary, the full form and the definition of story is something that lets your mind dream with creativity, imagine with creativity. Stories are full of curiosity. Summing it up, I would like to give you 3 conclusions. Before leaving the room, don't forget to revise them. First, the word power here means negative and positive both. So whenever a speaker is narrating you a story or a storyteller is narrating you a story, it's obvious that the listener would of course trust the speaker. But here, the speaker is responsible for what they share and speak, not the listener. Second, a very popular TED speaker having millions of likes on her YouTube videos. The name is Shimamanda Ngozi Adichie. Once mentioned the danger of a single story. This term defines that if you pass on a story, it should not pass misconception and false information amongst the people. Stories are also used to explain the audience or the front person in a better way. So let me do the same. Imagine I am a director and I have directed 2 movies. The first part of my movie says that Jack is going to Paris. The audience just knows that Jack is about to visit Paris. It's just an information. But the second part of my story tells that Jack is going to Paris with his mom after 2 years. So I hope we all are clear with the difference. Third, ladies and gentlemen, open up your ears. Each and every individual residing in this hall comes from a very diverse and cultural background. And I'm sure we all are from that. So let's make a promise today that we will pass on the legacies of telling oral narrated stories to our younger generations, because it does build a character within a person. You know, my parents are still fond of radios. They are the youngsters of 70s. But I, being a Gen Z, would never be that obsessed with radios. But let me tell you, radios are a very good tool to bring our ancient time back and to make it a daily trend. Orally narrated stories are something that AI and technology cannot give you the real feel of. We often question God. This time you did not listen to my prayer. So at last, I would like to share a secret with my audience. That whenever you pray to God, make it like a scene in your mind. Make it a type of story. I guarantee you, your dream and your imagination will definitely come as in reality. Because the message doesn't goes from mind. The message goes from your pure heart. And lastly, don't forget to thank God. People often say, leave the past you have gone through. People always make statements. Why to remember that time that has already gone and which will never come back? But today, standing on the TEDx platform, I would like to pass on my opinion that reply to those people that make your past a story. Make your past a story so that it generates power and gives you a confidence to live your future life like a story. To live your future life like a story. Signing off, Megha.
Thank you so much, Ms. Megha Rajpurohit, for enlightening us with the depths behind the common stories we often tend to overlook. Let's call upon Executive Director Ma'am Neetu Bothra and as the chief guest to felicitate Ms. Megha Rajpurohit.